If you can't tell by my shirt, I fucking love pro wrestling, so let's do this. Here are my immediate thoughts on Netflix's The Queen of Villains. Hey everyone, this is Lenny here. So we're just going to get right into Netflix's The Queen of Villains. This is the 5-part limited series biodrama that surrounds the life and career of Dump Matsumoto, who rose to fame and prominence in 1980s Japan as one of the most feared and hated professional wrestlers in that country's history. Now, I don't have to get into my own background as a wrestling fan. Anyone that follows me on the channel knows that is a fact. But just to give a little bit of context, so when I was growing up, we would get involved into something called tape trading. A lot of wrestling fans would trade VHS tapes around the country, around North America, and around the world of different promotions that they follow or different matches that they like. So, if I would send away a tape of Maple Leaf Wrestling or Calgary Stampede Wrestling or other wrestling promotions that maybe I had followed and taped, I would send those tapes away to other wrestling fans that I know in my circle, and I would get other wrestling events in turn, whether it's something from ECW, Extreme Championship Wrestling, or old events from the National Wrestling Alliance, NWA, or Georgia Championship Wrestling, or Championship Wrestling from Florida, or the AWA, or Portland Wrestling. All of us fans would get different VHS tapes with all those different promotions and shows. But sometimes fans would get what would be considered the holy grail of tape trades, and that would be events from Japan. And back in the days with some wrestling superfans, Japanese professional wrestling was considered sort of the height of professional wrestling as a performance art. Japanese professional wrestling, while still having larger-than-life characters like its North American counterparts, is a little bit more reality-based in terms of its presentation and style and violence. And I will never forget getting a tape of one particular match, and this is one of the defining professional wrestling matches of my life. It was a hair versus hair match between Chigusa Nagayo and Dump Matsumoto, and this wrestling match blew my mind because I had already had some ideas about what women were able to do in the ring. Now, seeing female athletes wasn't a new or foreign concept to me, but it just wasn't something that wasn't explored a whole lot in the professional wrestling realm, especially when it came to the level of violence that this match presented. So after watching this match, I was blown away, and I was like, it's clear that the women in professional wrestling can be just as bloody and violent and still have compelling in-ring stories just as much as the men. And ever since then, I have been a fan of Joshi wrestling, female Japanese wrestlers, and just female professional wrestling in general. So The Queen of Villains follows the life of Dump Matsumoto, played by Urian Retriever. I hope I pronounced that right. And she's absolutely fantastic in this role. Her name is actually Kairi. And Kairi is this sweet, gentle, good-natured individual who just loves professional wrestling and has loved professional wrestling pretty much her entire life. Now, she comes from a broken home, a broken family. Her father is pretty much a deadbeat. He's a gambler. He comes in and out of their lives all the time, really just to get money, but he is super abusive as well. At the same time, her mother is very meek. She doesn't really stand up for herself, and her younger sister just wants the family to just get along and just be able to survive while they struggle. At the same time, Kairi uses professional wrestling as a way to escape. But at one point, she finds out that the professional wrestling promotion in her area are holding auditions for new professional wrestlers, and she decides to take a chance. And pretty much The Queen of Villains asks the question, how far is one willing to go to achieve their dreams? And within the world of professional wrestling, there are really two ways that you can go. But the most important thing, and this is tantamount in the professional wrestling industry, is you will be the most important name in your promotion if you are the one that makes the promotion the most money. And this is the hard lesson that Kairi, or Dump, has to learn while she is learning literally the ropes of the professional wrestling scene. Now, even though this series follows Dump as our main protagonist, this is very much an ensemble piece. We have Erika Kurata, who plays Chigusa Nagayo, and her and Dump form a fast friendship when they first meet and they are auditioning for becoming professional wrestlers early in the series. And she has a great little arc as she grows into a great professional wrestler of her own. But it does seem like that it does come at the expense of the friendship that she and Dump has. We have Ayumi Goriki as Lioness Asuka, who is another defining talent of All Japan Wrestling with the female troupe. And we have Yun Murakami, who is the soft-spoken owner of this promotion and is one of the main encouraging factors to help Dump find who she is as a professional wrestler. And the acting from this entire cast is great. Everyone is multi-layered, three-dimensional characters. We really get to understand why some of the women make the decisions that they do in the ring. We get to see the men outside, why they make the decisions they do in terms of the business aspect of professional wrestling. And we do have to take into consideration that this took place during a time where professional wrestling was pretty much an all-male dominated industry. Now, professional wrestling still is pretty much male dominated, but things have definitely evolved and progressed in terms of the involvement of women in professional wrestling and what they are able to do within the ring. But this story is all about Dump and Kairi, and we see how she starts out, and she's just not a great wrestler when she starts. She doesn't know how to do a back bump. She doesn't know how to roll. It's hard for her to get into the offense. It's hard for her to figure out how to do things in the ring and perform and call shots on the fly with her opponents, and just doesn't have that killer instinct. And the show allows us to breathe with her and allows us to endure that struggle with her. So as she grows, as she progresses, as she has to fight through all of these struggles, she discovers who she is as a wrestler and the type of professional wrestler she needs to be if she wants to be noticed. And it all comes to a head because Kairi is just too nice of a person to really succeed in this industry. And things takes a turn when she decides to stand up to her abusive father. And once she does that, it seems like the light bulb is set and she knows exactly who she needs to be and what kind of character she needs to portray. And when Kairi becomes Dump, this series takes off. Now, what I really liked was how they presented professional wrestling in this show. So with professional wrestling, yes, for the most part, it is predetermined, it is scripted, we all know that. But in this series, it is presented sort of like half and half, where at times the bookers of the promotion will be like, yes, things are going to be predetermined, this person is going to be this person, but other times the promoters will just let the ladies in the ring do whatever the fuck they want and be like, hey, just fight it out and whoever wins, wins. Now, I don't know how completely accurate that is, but it does make for some great drama. And I love how the professional wrestling matches are shot. You get in really close. The shots are very intimate. The camera gets in close with our wrestlers as they perform all of their moves. And there's a bit of like a cinema verite or almost documentary-like feel when the camera is in the ring. A little bit of shaky cam, but it does feel like you are right there in the action. And this series recreates the Chigusa versus Dump hair versus hair match. And this is like Bohemian Rhapsody, where it basically recreated the finale of the Live Aid concert with Queen. This recreated that hair versus hair match to a T. I'm watching this and it was like watching the hair versus hair match for the first time. I am astounded in regards to all the details they got right with that match. And the transformation from Kairi to Dump is great. And when we see her transform and how hated she is and how she embraces that hatred and how it fuels the wrestler that she is in the ring and her character, it is just really great to see. And as a professional wrestling fan, I really appreciate the dedication that the entire cast and crew put in terms of the work to create this promotion and recreate everything that has to do with Dump Matsumoto's life. So yeah, if I was going to give this series a rating, it would be a very high blockbuster. This is one of my favorite things that I've watched all year. Obviously, I'm not going to lie, I do have a bit of internal bias because it is attached to professional wrestling and attached to a part of wrestling history that I love so much. So this is right up my alley, but at the same time, I do believe that if you are not a fan of professional wrestling, the story is still compelling enough that I think you would still get into it. So definitely check this out on Netflix when you get the chance. But those are my immediate thoughts and feelings on Netflix's The Queen of Villains. What did you guys think of the series? Share your thoughts, leave your comments, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to hit that bell icon so you can get notifications as well. Thanks a lot, everyone. Take care.